Welcome to the Legacy Woman Show. My name is Esther Vencia and I'm your host. And today's episode it is truly special. I had the honor of sitting down with Eloise, a woman of incredible faith, purpose, and passion. In this conversation, we get to know Eloise's heart, her inspiration, journey as a new author, and her latest project, a powerful community called Made for More, created to encourage women to step boldly into God-given purpose. This was deeply spiritual and uplifting conversation that I know will bless you. So let's dive in and get to know the amazing Eloise. Welcome to the Legacy Woman Show, Eloise.
Hey, good morning.
Wow.
Legacy Woman Show.
Wow, this is amazing. You're the first guest on the show. Do you feel kind of nervous?
Not even nervous. It's more like I'm the first person on a show, so that's significant.
Wow.
Because I'm the one setting up the standards in a way.
Oh, yes. I love that. The confident girl. I love it. I love it.
You know, being the first guest, it also shows the honor. You know, I'm very honored to be the first one. I'm not sure why I'm the first one, but I am honored to be here, and I'm grateful for the opportunity, honestly. So.
Wow, I'm so happy that you're here. Like the Legacy Woman Show, it's been a dream, it's been a vision, and it's finally here. I want to get to know Eloise a little bit more. The guests, the viewers, people that's listening to the podcast or watching the podcast, they want to know who are you. Since you're the first guest, okay, what make you so significant that you're here?
Who am I?
I didn't choose you, God did. So
Amen.
They want to see why He chose you.
Yes.
So who is Eloise?
To be honest with you, I'm a woman that loves to be in the background. As much as it seems like, I don't like to be in the visibility like that. But lately, I've noticed God is like, I want you to get out of your comfort zone. And that's how now you see me a little bit more on social media. And that's one thing my mentor and coaches are telling me constantly. You need your face out there. And I'm like, well, you know, I'd rather be with the people.
No. You're the face of your brand.
Yeah, I'd rather be with the people where they're out so I can touch them physically and communicate with them directly. But it's not like that, because the goal is also to reach out to people on the social media platform that may be all across the world, all across the globe. So I'm happy. I'm grateful that God has chosen me. He does chooses the people that are unseen.
That's true.
Yes, He does go after the one that are unseen. Those that seems like, you know, they may not think that I've chosen you. Even when you question, why would God call you? And I really believe it's to really show who He is and His glory. That He doesn't really go for anyone. He goes for those that people would not think of. So.
Wow, I love that you say that. So that want me to get to know you a little bit more about your faith. Where did all that started?
To be honest with you, long story short, I grew up Catholic, moved to here to America. I grew up in a Christian household, learned about Jesus Christ at that church I attended at for years. But it got to a point where I felt like my Christian faith got a little stale when life got really hard through the wilderness. So I started to question and doubting, do I still believe in God? Yes.
That's deep.
I started to question, do I still believe in God? Not just because I was going to church Sunday to Sunday, but it felt like, you know, I was going through the motion and going through the mundane. And it felt like, you know, sometimes when you feel like, oh, I feel disconnected with God or whatnot. And it's because I got busy with life. I got busy with life up until I went through the wilderness. And that's how the whole book even came out. It was during a wilderness season. I really started to see who God is for who He is. That He really hears me. I don't have to question anymore. I don't have to doubt anymore. And I just have to simply be patient that He's going to come through for me. Beyond just being Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Rapha, Jehovah Nisi. And I started to really be intentional during this season that this is who God is for me in that season. And it's all character. And that in itself, I was like, you know what? I believe I'm walking with God now. Yes, I was in that household. It was because parents was telling me to go to church. And trust me, I desire to go to church too. I love people. You know, especially when you first get saved, you are fire for Jesus. Like, you know, you're fire for Jesus up until life is really lifing, throwing things at you, and you're just questioning why all of this is happening. But as I'm here now, standing to the day, I'm grateful for everything that has happened leading up to today, because He has given me such a not just boldness, but also seeing that God can really work through me. and that he can really use me as long as I want to, of course, and allow him. And also just continue to be a daughter, a friend, and also that he is willing to shift my situation, change my environment, and all sorts of things. So we have so much to unpack, honestly, and that's me. As a whole, I'm very unserious. I'm very unserious. You can get that. I work in the healthcare field, so it's a very serious job, but I'm an unserious person. I'm always laughing, and I think that came from the healthcare professional. You have to have a sense of humor. You have to have a sense of humor, even though it's people's lives that are at stake, but somehow it just, not that we're recovering by trauma, but it's just, we see life differently from everybody else in a whole different perspective. I love family. I care a lot about family. I care about people. I naturally tend to help. I'm a natural helper. As a woman, yeah, a natural helper. I'm always willing to serve others, but it got to a point where out of service unto others, so much so, in selflessness, I have that, but it became to a point where I was neglecting Eloise in the part where she was struggling with insecurities here and there, and she needed to face them.
I love that you say that, because I believe that people who like people and who like to help, sometimes we are so focusing on trying to help others, we neglect our own need, or we pouring from an empty cup, and you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yes.
Even when you were talking earlier about your relationship with God, where you grew up in church, but you go because your parents were telling you to go. You go in for a different reason. But I believe that as an adult, you have to get to know God for yourself.
Absolutely.
And until you get to know God for yourself, I feel like it's not the same.
It's really not the same. And I see also, like, as an adult, my views started to change when I was a teenager, seeing us attending church, to now, although attending church is great, don't get me wrong, and I'm not saying that for you not to attend church. Please go, it's needed. But you also need that one-on-one, because it's up until you get that one-on-one you can actually go back out there to pour into people. If not, you can go into the community, go to the church, and yet you're just listening to sermon, you're just going out there. But up until I came to that point, not to say that I'm not attending church every now and then, but it has become differently where I want to go to different places with God. I want to go to a hotel room and be with God. I want to travel to a different state and be with God, because his word says, I am with you.
Wherever you go.
Yeah. Wherever you go. So that in itself, it's like, why not? So as I'm experiencing him, as I'm walking with him, and I've had tragic experiences as well, don't get me wrong, to the good, to the bad, and the ugly. But he has brought me where I can no longer doubt God anymore of his existence.
Ooh. And that's a powerful place to be in, and sometimes it takes a long time to get there, especially as a young woman growing up in a country where there's always chaos. There's so much going on around us. There's death around us, and there is so many betrayal. For you to be certain about God, that's like the most beautiful thing you can ever be. There's people that's in their 50s, they still not certain about anything. Exactly. And imagine you being this young. And how can you share with those people that's listening right now? How did you get to that point? I feel like they need to know.
How did I get to that point? Because I would say for Unwired, even with the idea of the book, I would say that's how it led me to that point. Because I went through a season where I went to school, and the school had something happen with the school, and that's what my plans were. I was like, hey, I'm going to go to school, graduate college, and be done. And granted enough, the school shut down. The school shut down on me, and I'm like, oh, my whole life is ending. What am I supposed to do? And to tell you, it's not like, I always knew God was real, all these things. But in that moment, it felt like I can't run to anyone else. Because I always wanted to tell people my issues and that. So for 6 months, I just wept before the Lord. I wore black clothes for 6 months straight, as if I'm grieving. And I cried every day. Every day for 6 months straight. And it's not like I didn't know what was going on. But it's because I was crying out to him. And my world felt like it was a whirlwind. People were moving away from me. And I was like, why am I hurting so bad? But it's through the pain I found purpose. It's to the pain I found to be uncomfortable to do what I was called to do, even to be drawn to people in a different light. So the idea came about 2022, and I was like, you know what? Sure. I was in my old apartment. I started to write the first 2 lines of my book, which is now the first page. Unwired. Yeah.
Unwired.
Yes. So now, just to briefly talk about it, I started it and I was like, you know what? No, it's not a book. It's just, it's nothing. It's nothing serious. So I just put it down. And then until life started to really hit, the wilderness really got wild. And that's what we don't talk about enough. We don't talk about the wilderness season.
And I do believe that people don't talk enough about it.
We don't talk about the wilderness. We talk about the valley. We talk about when things are going well. But we don't talk about the wilderness. And granted enough, in that wilderness, my mind were flooding with thoughts that were not of my own. And I'm writing them down. And I'm like, what is happening here? And granted enough, it was a book birthing out of me.
Wow. Tell us a little bit more about Unwired. During the process, it came from a painful situation.
It did.
And I do feel like the greatest story does come from painful situation.
Absolutely.
Whether we want it or not.
That's true.
But our pain has purpose, and it just like one of the Bible verses that I like, perseverance produce character produce hope, and hope never come in void.
Yeah.
And I do believe you went through that season.
Yes.
So anybody that's listening right now, like, you can tell them a little bit more.
So in that process, I remember when the thoughts were being flooded at me, and I was just like, okay, I'm just going to write them down, put them on my phone as much as I can. And I wrote it was Death to Life at first, my very first title. Then I went to Detangled. That's how much I didn't really know what to come up with, because it was new for me, new experience. I didn't even see myself to become an author. Yes, I like to read other people's book, but for me to be the one was like, no, this is completely different for me. So I started to just write everything that was coming at me. But the words, I was being inspired, of course, by the Spirit of God. And I was like, this is a book. I was like, this is absolutely a book, but it's in form of poetry. And I was like, this is even more, like, this is beautiful. And to think that God is using his own gift that he's gifted me with, and I'm using it, and I'm not even aware at this point that I'm doing so, up until I sat down one day and I put it all together and I read it and I said, this is an actual book of God speaking to me to accept who he says that I am, and that he loves me. He doesn't change his mind about me. I've not been rejected by him because his word already said it. And most of my word from the book are scripture based, talking about identity. And that's when I knew I was struggling with my own personal identity, that I didn't know who I was, and I was allowing people to conform me to their own identity or perception of me. So when I finally got to know that part, it was just a completely shift. Not I became ignorant or nonchalant, but it became where whatever you say or do, I can care less.
And it took a lot to get there.
It took a while for me to get there, because it was out of people pleasing, out of fear of man, out of wanting to be loved, out of fear of wanting to be seen. You know, when you love people like that, you end up being the light of the party somehow. It's not like you force it, you just somehow become the life of the party. And I was like, no, that's not who I am anymore. It got to a point, it's like, it's tiring.
It is. It can be.
Why am I trying to be someone I'm not? Although, like, you know, so it became where God was literally just trying, unwiring me, literally. Like, you know, I'm
unwired.
I'm unpeeling you of all the things you thought of, these ideas, these false ideologies, these false words, even words I've also told myself, or lies I believe, or allow the enemy to tell me, and I've actually walked around with it, and I'm feeling shameful because I believed a lie. Come on now. So it became to that purpose, and I was like, wow. And my heart started to grieve for the youth on how much they struggle with their identity, how much women and men struggle with their identity. And that's when it became the basis of me to also reach out to not just women, but also men.
Wow, that is powerful. Before we move on, that is so powerful. I can literally relate to your story, especially as a young Christian woman growing up. It's like in our culture, Haitian, it's like highly called l'église. Those are literally home, school, church. Those are the only places we can go, and therapy or mentorship is not something that was available to some of us.
Right.
And in that capacity, we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
And until we've been exposed to it, until someone like you wrote a book like Unwire, or until someone like me decided to put all of this on a podcast where someone can listen to it and said, you know what, I needed this. You know what?
Yeah.
That can actually help me. So how do you unwire? How do you literally lay everything at the feet of Jesus? Every time I hear the word unwire, it literally reminds me of when you literally lay everything at the feet of Jesus and said, I'm certain you, God. I'm certain your word say yes and amen, and I believe it, and you my only priority right now.
And that's exactly what happened, because I was in that apartment, and I will never forget the song that we played was that song that came into my spirit. And I literally thought of that story in the Bible when she literally, before Jesus died, she was significant. It was a woman. That's how we are so significant in the eyes of God. It was a woman that literally poured out her oil with her tears, with her hair, to wipe his feet.
That's my favorite story in the Bible, actually.
And that was not my favorite story in the Bible. My favorite story was always the woman at the well, but it became significant to me. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to walk boldly into this, resiliently, however it looks in the sight of others, but I'm going to continue to walk. And of course, warfare started to get hit in all sorts of corners, because now
it's powerful.
I'm becoming someone
that's
that
what
changes everything for us. When you get to know that person and you allow yourself to put in the work. Now, was it easy for me to go through the work? Oh, no, it was not easy at all. Tears all the time. Tears all the time. People was like, what is wrong with you? Like, what are you going through? Even when I didn't even know what I was going through, but yet I knew deep down, if I go before the Lord with it and I'm crying, I know he's hearing me, because at least I know that part. So was it easy to go through it? No. But at the end, it was worth it. Now that I'm on the other side of it, it was worth it, because now it gives me an opportunity to, if other storms comes, I know how to stand in it. I know who to go to it. And I also know I don't have to be afraid anymore, because I know who's with me.
Thank you for sharing that. I love that.
Yeah, I know who's with me. And it's okay, because when we come, yes, God's going to send men to help us, but I can cry out to him and say, you know what, I'm your daughter, and your daughter's struggling again. But at the end of the day, I had to come to that point instead of quickly go to that one or two person to fix or do this or do that. So it became a completely shift for me, that I myself, I was like, what is taking place right now? And my world seemed chaotic, but I knew I was okay. Yeah, I knew I was fine. Yeah, I knew I was fine, especially when I set the date to release the book. My world was mad chaotic, and it was complete increased warfare. And I'm like, is this really taking place? And I finally understood what warfare is.
I feel like a lot of young Christian women don't actually know what warfare is.
I didn't know, maybe because I've never been exposed to it in church, or no one ever sat me down. I feel like I'm very simple. You just gotta tell me, Eloise, 1 + 1 = 2. Please don't tell me 1 + 1 = let's do the X. Oh, I love math, but please,
it's like, give it to me straight.
Just give it to me straight,
let me process
it, and it will be okay. Don't make it complicated. Why are we doing that?
Yeah.
Like, please, life is already hard in itself. Make it simple for me to understand, and it also opened up my understanding to understand people too, where I don't budge about a lot of stuff. I'm very easygoing in a lot of things. It's just like, and that's the point I'm grateful I've gotten to, because I've always been so uptight by many stuff. So it's just like maturity took place in a different way that I thought, you know how many people think that, you're 30 years old, you should be matured by now. But sometimes that's not always the case.
Not at all, especially with trauma, spiritual maturity.
All of that.
There's a lot of happening.
So I had to really let go of, like you said, all the trauma, the childhood trauma, the rejections, any little thing that seems like was, I've never faced front. It was in that season of wilderness. Everything took place. And it was this weight, just burden lifted off of me, and now I'm full of life, I'm full of light, and I'm just ready to just tell people, believe in God, have hope.
It's like, you've been missing out.
Yeah.
Do you know who Jesus is?
Yeah. Believe in God, have hope, be encouraged, even when it seems like right now things is not looking the way it is. Have hope,
One of my favorite saying, it goes with what you just said, trusting God even when you don't see a way.
Yes.
Sometimes I don't even take my own advice.
Have hope.
But
I know
trusting
we do that quite often. We talk, but yeah, we don't take it too. And just have hope, because I started to see it for myself. You know what it's like, and how it's like to walk by faith. What it's like to really, God, I'm gonna say what you tell me to do, and then you're gonna meet me halfway. And throughout the process, I really saw it, like, you know, God really coming through financially, bringing the people that needed to be there. And that's when I started to love things like this, intimacy. Because in that season, it was just me and him. And afterwards, when he brought me to my next project, he started to teach me I needed to be with people now. And that's when now I was like, okay, I have to build a community. Oh my goodness, I need to be around people, because I was learning so much doing me and you. And it took only one thing that I came into my presence of God. I said, God, I miss you. That's all it was. I just said, I cried. I said, I just want to be your daughter. I miss you. I just want to be your daughter. And I just sobbed. And I don't know about you, that type of sob that's like,
no, it's a different type of stuff. When you're crying out to your Heavenly Father, it's different than you crying out to anything else. It's a love, but then it's a pain.
Yes, I just said, I just want to be a daughter. And do what you have to do. And I use the scripture, blessed is the man who put their trust in the Lord, they should not be put to shame. And I held on to it.
And one thing about us Christian, we're gonna remind God of His word and His promises.
Held on to it. Oof. Blessed is the man who put their trust in the Lord; they will not be put to shame. And granted enough, I was not be put to shame. To this, the book itself has brought me places I never thought I would be. Brought me to people, met new people, and that's what was taking place too. I ended up being in other rooms because I was comfortable in the room that I knew. Now I'm in other rooms with other people, and that's when the whole entrepreneurship came in. So
wow, I love that. Before we move on to the your entrepreneurship journey, how you get here, I want to piggyback off of another part of your story. I feel like a lot of people, they always, especially with social media nowadays, showing only the result, but not showing the behind the scene, which sometimes it can be really hard to actually show your behind the scene. It can be really hard unless you're sitting in a podcast like this, you literally dissecting your story. It's hard, and sometimes people get upset when people don't show them you crying and things like that. But like, I want anyone that's listening to be able to know that in your wilderness season, God is, and He will always come through. And the Bible verse that you just said, it also make me want to say, God's word will never come back to Him void.
That too.
If He said it, He will do it. Yes. And it's up to your heart posture and you to believe that it's going to happen. I think that was very beautiful. And God is so faithful.
He is. I'm seeing His faithfulness right now in my season that I'm about to transition to a whole new one that is so blissful. And I'm just like, God, you know what? What you say you will do, you're really going to do it. It just sometimes the time our time is different compared to His. We get a little bit impatient. We question, we started to doubt, and we just be like, when will you really come through? But eventually, when He does come through, it's a flood, and you yourself can't even contain, like, I believe this is really taking place right now. And you're like, oh, this is speed, slow down.
Sometimes I look like this. I said, God, you really doing this? Are you sure? Oh my God.
This is good stuff. Yeah. So it's awesome.
It's beautiful. Walking with God is beautiful. And I feel like sometimes people or the enemy want us to believe that if we believe in God like this, if we believe that He can do things, if we are Christian, we following His will, that we should not be rich or have money. What is something you can talk about that?
To be honest with you, let me tell you something. That's when my mindset shifted, because I always thought, because we're Christian, and the Bible talks about money, and
root of all evil.
There's root of all evil, there's a lot of context into it. So and you see rich people and you see the poor people, and I'm like, well, God, what if I'm the one you called to be the next CEO? What am I gonna do? Because you're the one called me. Like, I can't even fight the fact that you called me to be a CEO and how money relates. So I had to have like a complete mindset shift. It was hard, but it was a mindset shift, and that's where it all starts, because the mind relates to the heart, and that's how you can act. Even if you might think about it, but up until up here is not shift, you cannot do anything, even if you want to. That's why you have to renew it.
Renew your mind.
Renew it, change it, then your heart posture also, and then the act gonna take place. And that's literally how it is. So when I entered the whole entrepreneurship, I called my brother. I said, entrepreneurs is a whole different world. I said, what is this? I said, I think I was missing out on something, but this is a complete different world for me, because all I knew was healthcare. All I knew is healthcare. All I knew is people that are sick, that are dying. And then now I'm entering a world where actually you have to put in extra work, but in a different way. There's freedom, yay, but it's a different light. And you literally have to trust God. That's another part. It's like
I don't think there's no entrepreneurship without God, honestly.
You can't do it without Him. So when I've entered the world of entrepreneurship, as we know, I do taxes, and in our firm we do a game called March Madness, where we compete against each other. And I'm competing, and every week I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna do my part. I'm gonna go home at the right time and sleep. And every week they're like, Eloise, you're winning. And I'm thinking to myself, how? How? I'm like, how? I'm not even trying. And to tell you, because I started last year too, and I was not doing the best, but this year I was like, every week they're like, Eloise, you're going to the next round. Wow. You're going to the next round. I made it to semifinal, and I was thinking to myself, how did we get there? And it's because every week I'm like, God, listen, I don't even know where these people are gonna come. Send me some. Yes, I did my part, and to be honest with you, I felt like I did the bare minimum, but yet the people came. The people came. And they came, I did my part, and that's how it pushed me forward. Not to say that, for those that may not be using God on their way, means that, they're doing something wrong. But I was like, you know what, God, listen, these people better come somewhere. And then I'll get a text message, a phone call. Hey, I heard you, blah, blah, blah. Can you do mine? I'm like, yeah, of course. And I get excited, and that's how I was able to move forward. And I was thinking to myself, I really have to involve God now. Even if I didn't want to, I really have to ask God to come in. And you see the opportunities come in, the doors are coming in, doors are opening up wide, and that just shifted everything in me. So now when I'm around in a room with other entrepreneurs, I see why they have the mindset that they do.
Business without God, I feel like it's like you're setting up yourself for failure. I can say that because I did my first business without God. And even though I had money, but there was something that was missing.
Gotcha.
It wasn't the same. I wasn't doing business the godly way. I was doing business the worldly way. And as Christian, you want to do business the godly way, because if you want to serve His kingdom, you want to know where it's going. But before we move on, I wanted to get back to the money. Growing up, I always thought if I have money, I couldn't serve God.
Right.
I had a poor mentality. I thought Jesus was poor. The people in the Bible, they portrayed them as, okay, they have money, they mean, they bad. I said, well, God, I love people just like you love people, but I want to help people. I want to be around people. But then what if I have money? Money changed me, and now I don't love people anymore. So that mentality used to make me scared. And now I'm scared to have money, and that's what literally caused me to my business not to go the way it should have go, because I'm so busy trying to help people for free, trying to help people to where I'm not making as much money as I should, or I'm scared to make so much money that I'm gonna not have God. And I said, but I'd rather have God with no money, until my mentor told me, wait, what are you talking about? King David was a billionaire. Solomon was rich. All those people in the Bible was rich, and they still serve God.
Can I tell you something?
Like, what are you talking about?
And it's because of our upbringing. Because, unfortunately, please.
Not all of us.
Please. Because of our upbringing, we always thought, like, if we have money, we may, like, we portrayed, if you're wealthy, the wealthy people don't really love God.
Yeah.
Because, of course, to be honest with you, money, sometimes when you do have a lot of money, you feel like you've made it out of without God. Don't get me wrong, for some others out there. But for those that know, like, let's say for someone like me, I'll use myself. I know where I came from, and I see myself being where I'm at. By any means necessary, I didn't get here alone. This is nothing but favor. This is nothing but grace. And this is something I did not earn. I didn't deserve it. It just so happens to be that I'm being used to have it. So when we have that mentality, that poor mentality, is because, if I have money, then I'm going to turn away from God. But yeah, we're the main one actually crying out to God for him to financially give us a financial breakthrough. And somehow we never made it.
Which is so crazy.
Let's make it happen.
It's crazy.
Yes. And
it's
that
crazy.
changed for me when I attended my very first church. You know, they were very big on finances and, you know, doing things differently. I said, oh, it's all about the environment too.
Mm-hmm.
And your environment speaks value, and who's teaching you. And it's not always about the money, what people think. Even in our business, we do have it's big. We're growing exponentially. Like, it's big. It's nice. But we always say, before we even think of the money, let's think of the people. Because it's the people we're trying to impact. It's the people we're trying to change. It's the people we're trying to help. Through our service, even being as caring as we are. Because some of us, the money doesn't change us, because that compassion is still there. That caring is still there. My mentor says, Eloise, relate. Be relatable.
Yeah.
And from that, you can get your money. So now the money comes in a whole different mindset. It doesn't seem like, you know, I'm going to get rich. I'm going to get the hustle. I'm going to get the grind. And, you know, that's how it can be too, because now, like, you know, because now you think, I'm going to get all my money. So that's quick instead of an impact. I would much rather make an impact and influence someone's life over the fact that I'm just trying to get money. No, I really want the name Eloise to be in a manner of, you know, I met her. Not that she just be a good woman, she made an impact in my life. Even though, like, you know, I did not serve you, you know, she said something to me that's spoken to me, and I'll take that. I would much rather hear that instead of, well, you know, she got all the money now, because whenever we get to money, you know, we change our looks a bit, our attitude changes, our mindset changes. We're like, oh, you got all the money in the world now, you don't know us. That's not it. It just so happens that we have to think differently.
Yeah.
And our environment has to change in a bit way. Not that to say we're not going to hand our hand over to the poor or help out, but the goal is, I believe, if God has led that in our heart, to open our heart to give more, He's going to position us in that position. And I really believe it now that I'm seeing myself entering that world. I want to give back as much as I can, but financially I can't. So how about I put you to the test to become the one so you can do it, and you're the one that give back for my kingdom.
Wow, I love that a lot. Ooh, that was good. I love that. I want to add something. One of the best thing my mentor always said is, take care of your client and your client will take care of you.
Yes, same.
And if you imagine yourself bigger in a different room, you're going to have to position yourself to be in those rooms.
Yeah.
And whether it's childhood friend, relationship, whatever, there are some things you cannot take into the next level that God is calling you to be.
You have to let it go.
You have to let it go. And sometimes it can be hard for someone who loves people.
Yes.
Someone who's caring.
I'm struggling.
And as a Christian, it's like, no, guys.
I am struggling.
No.
It is difficult for me, because now that I'm in different rooms and I be coming to my, you know, some close people, I'm just like, hey, if you only knew on the other side of this,
it's
not
different.
out of greed, but it's different. It's a different mindset,
different.
And you can see how much people actually limit themselves.
That's the word right there.
We limit ourselves, and we believe that we don't think so. And I know we play the whole humility. I get it. Don't get me wrong. But we get to a point, it's like, are you just trying to be humble? But yet, I really believe if we can go back to the lifespan of your life, I'm sure there is a season in your life God probably has tried to call you to do that one thing, and yet you push it to the side. And that's why I've made for more now. I want to bring it back.
Ooh.
Whatever it is. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what it is.
As you doing it, God will reveal it to you and give it to you.
But it's not even
pieces.
that, but it's more like the people. I want to bring it back, that idea that I'm sure along the way, God had told you to try to do something else different. Especially if you have other responsibilities in your life. Usually He brings up new opportunities for you to provide for your family. Yeah. You probably was afraid. You probably questioned it. You probably doubted that you could even write a book. And I'm only using it because I was once in that position. I can only talk about where I was once. And then I'm no longer there now. So I can say, I'm sure there's an idea or a vision that He gave you, and you just don't know how to go about it. Or you just don't think you can bring it to pass.
Wow. Did you see what you said? That's why I love networking. That's why I love networking. Networking will bring you in a room where you think everybody is regular until you have a conversation, until you see the different mindset, until you see the different culture.
Yes.
And I feel like staying in your environment, it's like you feel stagnant.
Yeah, it is. I love culture. I love every sort of culture. I tell myself, if I want to go to Bible college, there's only one thing I'm going to learn: cultural values. I want to learn about all these other cultures out there and how I can relate with them. I just want to be able to be relatable to people. So even if I'm sitting here with a whole different culture from the other side of the world, I want to relate with you in some way, and I make that my thing now. Thank God, with the people, loving people, I'm naturally able to engage with people. And as a business person, you have to, because you don't know who you're gonna meet. So now it's like I constantly wanting to talk to people, constantly wanting to get to know them, even though I may not remember their name.
Yeah, I feel like it takes at least 4 times to meet someone to really remember their name, to know. I love that you say that, because in different room, different culture, building a connection, having a different network, knowing a doctor, knowing a lawyer, knowing author, knowing a podcaster, knowing all of those people in a different way, different level, intimacy will open your eyes in a way you wouldn't even think was
exactly. And that's the vision I have for Made for More, honestly.
So tell us more about Made for More.
So Made for More came one day, because after I had the whole vision for the book, and I was like, okay, cool, what do we do now? I'm an author now, and I have to talk about this book everywhere I go. People's gonna ask questions. So Made for More came about when one day, I'm turning 30. I just turned 30. Third decade.
I think that's a beautiful age.
I'm loving it. I'm enjoying my 30s right now. The back, the health, the bones are not the same, but still.
Is that really true, or you guys made that up? Because no, I'm about to be 30, you're gonna scare me.
No, surely my back is really not the same.
Oh my God.
It's really not the same. So I was like, for my 30th birthday, I really want to make an impact and be significant. I was born on March 8th, which also is a holiday. It's Women International Day. So I was like, okay, Women International Day, I'm turning 30. 333. I might as well do something else that will also make that a thing, knowing that every year on my birthday something is happening. So Made for More came where all I had at first was the colors, the pink, the hot orange, the springy colors. I'm like, what is this? I said, okay, Made for More. What's going on here? Made for More. And the light bulb came in, click. I said, I'm an author. Yay, let me bring other authors with me. So I reached out to a couple friends. I said, hey, you wrote a book, right? She was like, yeah, but it's been a while. I said, if I have a conference, would you be one of my speakers? She said, Eloise, I would love to. Wow. I said, say less. I said, one down. I reached out to another friend. He's a health coach. I said, but I don't want to just bring authors into the picture. I said, let me reach out to him. He lives in Atlanta. I said, hey, if I have a conference and I want you to speak, would you come? He said, I will drive. I said, wow. Say less. So, and I ended up meeting with a friend from work, and I told her the idea. We sat down, and she was the carrier. She said, we're going to make it happen. So we got other people from different departments: mental health, social worker, health and fitness, authorship. And I said, we're going to put this into a networking event, but as a conference. But I'll be the woman behind it. So I decided, I said, I just want you to bring your business, bring yourself, bring that idea that you started on, you worked at it. It probably is a little bit dry right now, stagnant. Let's revamp it. And then now let's launch it out. And it was older women that's been in business forever, people that are now starting into business, people that have started and yet they're kind of a little bit stuck, and then people that have written books. So we all gathered in one room. And we started to say, let's discuss our lives, how we started, how we have led here, because it's experience people love to hear.
Yeah, that's true.
It's experience. How did you go through it? How did you go about it? And it became as that. And I said, I'm going to launch Made for More as that. A place of network, a place of legacy, a place of organization where we just come together. So this year, everyone was like, Eloise, can you do this again? They're like, do it again at the end of the year. I said, please, I beg of you. I have other things. But the goal for next year to make like a 2 to 3 day conference, like a summit. so we can have more panelists, more speakers, more people to just come and talk about their lives, where they're at now, and they just drop knowledge, drop wisdom, drop biblical principle, and at the end we all leave fed, but at the same time the end goal is next year when I meet you again, what change?
I love that.
I'm not expecting you to come back here next year and tell me I didn't do anything. So I told the lady that I wrote the book, I said, I want you to write more. She said, but writer's block. I was like, I do too, I understand, but go talk to the Lord.
Yeah.
Write more books. Do whatever it takes, because someone next year is going to come to you and ask you, what did you write? What's new? Or what happened from here to then? Because although I may not bring the old ones, but I still want you to come, because you are the first people that I started with. If you can't make it, that's different. But at the end of the day, the goal is from here to next year. What changed in that span of 12 months?
Wow. I love this a lot, because Made for More, the way you explain it, the name literally say it all. There's no other name that literally you can think of.
I know.
With that explanation,
Yes.
Made for More.
Yes.
Because it's like you said, the lady, she wrote the book, okay, it's been a year, and then she stopped writing, she's not promoting anymore, she feel like that's it. Sometimes God might give us a vision and we said, okay, that's it, what's more? But then from that book, a conference can come out of it. From that book, another book can come out of it.
Exactly.
From that group, a woman group.
Absolutely.
And then God was able to use you to implant that in their mind to...
And the goal too, it's more like you've already launched your book and you had a group of people that saw it. The people you're going to be seeing, you don't know them. Because I'm inviting you, you're inviting your people. I don't know your people. So now we literally get to meet other people, and then from there, you never know who you're going to leave with that was not your new friend, that you're probably going to mentor outside of here, or that's going to connect with you in some way, in some form, to ask you more question about what you do so you can help them in a different level.
Wow.
And that's the whole purpose of it all. That when I get out of here, someone was impacted by, hey, Eloise, I was really blessed by your book. I wanted to write a book. How do I start? Where do I begin? I can help you.
Wow. Did you imagine through your pain that God would birth all of that?
None at all.
Wow.
Whatsoever.
But sometimes we give up in the process of our pain.
Oh, trust me, I was ready.
It's like, God, I can't take this anymore.
But this, my hand is done. I'm done.
Oh my God.
So now the goal, of course, for the rest of the year, as I'm preparing for next year too, it's like getting to network people, getting to meet new people, and also just growing too, so I can bring Made for More second year. So I know in every year it's an annual thing that's taking place.
Wow.
Around my birthday, as I'm also laying down my lives for others to be seen, for others to have an opportunity. And I would love to be sponsored, let people, fund it, because,
Yes.
I'm telling my partner, I'm like, honey, he's like, listen, the Lord will provide. I'm like, yeah.
He'll send the people, he'll send the money, he will.
And I'm just like, okay. And he's like, just be chill. I'm like, alrighty. And that's what I did too, even for the first one, although everyone was like, Eloise, can we help? I'm like, for what? They're like, you're so calm. Yeah. I was like, I believe it's gonna go well. They're like, well, you're not overwhelmed. Where can we help? I'm like, I'm trying to be overwhelmed. I don't know. What should I do? I was like, should I be like...
You see, you said you're serious? You're so funny. I'm trying to get overwhelmed.
Yeah, they're like, for something like this, you should be panicking. I'm like, there's nothing in me that's panicking right now, but it's gonna happen. And when it comes, and granted enough, it was so beautiful the whole day. I was like, why did it end so quickly?
It's like you played for 12 months and then in 30 minutes or 1 hour, it's gone.
I was like, oh, everyone, you gotta go back to your state.
Can you stay here with me? Let's keep talking.
Another day.
But that's beautiful. That's mean this is what you're meant to do. This is your calling.
Yes, this is what I was meant to do.
It was birth out of pain, but this is your calling.
So I'm putting everything together that I've had, gift, talents, in all in one place. So of course, although I'm in school currently, I have the opportunity now to just focus on that. Like, what to do, what to network, who to meet with, of course, to prepare and reach out. So next year when we come back around, it's bigger and better, and brighter, and just more impact, more influence. Yeah.
So if you guys want to learn more about Made for More, or you can purchase the book Unwired on Amazon.
Yeah, it's on Amazon, it's on Lulu, it's on Barnes Noble. Even if anything, you can just go on my page on Instagram, which is Eloise Naika, and it's all on there.
Yeah, Made for More in your community. If anyone wants to be able to join, you can join also on Instagram.
Yes, you can join on my community there. But like today's Friday, every second Friday of the month, we have a book club where Supreme, the tax office, and Made for More, we're partnered up together now, so we can have a book club. And the book club is everything. I'm leading it. They're like, you're the author, lead it. I was like, sure. But it just fell right into the crack of me. We gathered up with our agents and even people outsiders too, not just our agent, and we just read. Every 2 weeks, I give them a book they need to read, and we come back, reflect on it, so we can build our mindset, our faith, our prayer life, our leadership skills, conflicts, all sorts of book I have lined up to faithfully walk in and build that community. So it's a full circle for me right now.
It is. Like, I can feel it. Spiritually, it's
a
beautiful.
Full circle for me.
It's beautiful.
Starting last year to know I had that small lunch at a dinner, that now I have a whole community where we sit down, we laugh, we crack jokes, but I'm big on, hey, like today, we're meeting today. I'm like, did you read the book? Because today we get to discuss it to see what needs to be changed, because it's all about what we need to work on, shift, and act. I'm not here to mold you, but I'm here to equip you and walk with you, and as we grow together too. And by next year, Made for More is gonna have a whole community. And I'm grateful for Supreme, because they're the one that's been pushing this.
And they sponsor all of that.
Sponsor me, yeah.
Thank you, Supreme, for sponsoring all the girls.
Seriously, thank you, Supreme. Supreme is Supreme is number one. They have been, and that's what I love about the CEO of Supreme too, coming together, working alongside with him. I'm like the female version of him in a way, where the idea comes and we're very proactive. So sitting down with him, I was like, this is what I have, and he's like, sure, shoot, go for it. And he always pushed me to do more and not just settle for that low. Like, he'd be like, this is all you can do, and I'm like, ew.
Because we were made for more, right?
Right. You're like, that's it. And I'm like, oh, that means I have to go think more.
Yes. I love people like that. They push you.
They challenge
you.
For sure. And that's what I needed. Because I think, like I said, environment is a big thing. You get very complacent, very comfortable, and you think you're okay. But you need to grow in some way, in some form.
Yeah, I do believe that. For me personally, I remember when I started my entrepreneurial journey and I left my Haitian church. I usually went to a straight Haitian church. I left my church and started being a member here in an all-American church.
Awesome.
And I left my friendship. I had to literally put everything to the side, and people didn't understand why. I said, God specifically told me, I'm taking you somewhere. You cannot take them with you, and you cannot stay at that church. And I said, God, but that's harsh. I grew up with those people. I know them since I was like 13 years old. And you want me to just leave like that?
I be MIA all the time.
But in the season, it was hard.
Listen, in that season, it was hard. Now they be like, where's Eloise? Eloise is MIA.
I'm exactly what God want me to be.
I be MIA. Where are you at now? Literally at another conference.
Yeah, because you are made for more in God. In order for you to go back and help them, you're going to have to.
Yes.
You have to.
And that's what's taking place now, because now I'm in a different place, and whatever season that they're in, I'm able to help them in a whole different way that I would want to, because I've walked that walk. Mm-hmm. I can take you. I'm not saying I'm gonna make sure you get there, but I'll be right by your side. Yeah. It's your health journey. I went through that. Sure, I can actually say, this is what I did, this is what I didn't do. So you take it, you listen to it. You don't have to say everything, but at least I can say, okay, I've done my part. Sure, if you want to go about it, then for sure. But same thing too, it's not easy to say, I'm sorry that I'm seeking more. I'm sorry that I have more things to do on my plate, and I cannot
be there right now.
Be here right now. That's when boundaries take place, and some of us, we don't know that. But I've learned the hard way, and it's good. No, I don't want to be disobedient. No. Especially that I have now something to work on, and this is things I'm passionate about. This is not just something like, oh, okay, I'm just doing it just for the sake. No. yes, money may not come in today. As entrepreneurs, some days the money is really up. And tomorrow, tomorrow you're like 0.00, and the next week is definitely a negative. But you'll be like, you know what? It's okay. You keep on going.
Planting the seed.
It motivates you. Yeah. It motivates you to wake up every day. Like this morning, I was like, I can't believe this. Like I was dreading it. I said, no way. But we have to go. We have to go.
Our story is going to save.
We have to go. Lives. So you don't have the chance to be in your feelings. You don't have the chance to be in your emotion. It's like bump this. Yeah. The guys at the office, they all say, Eloise, you're so emotional.
I'm a woman.
Yes, I'm emotional. And I'm like, but guys are like, zip it. And I'm like, ew.
They would give it to you like that. That's it.
Yeah,
but sometimes we need it.
It's needed to no longer just be wanting to play small.
Yeah,
and just
or be too comfortable.
Too comfortable. We're sometimes way too comfortable, and we just don't think we can. It was all part of it because I don't know for you. For me, it's more like, wow, this is beautiful.
It is.
It's like this is beautiful, and yet I'm in awe of it. I was telling him that I was like, I'm in awe of her. Of this is who I was called to be, but although it took me a little minute for the brain to click, but somehow I'm grateful for the journey. I'm grateful for the opportunities. I'm grateful for the pitfalls, and I'm even more grateful for the people I'm really impacting every day of my life, and that's legacy for me.
Oh, I'm so happy you say this because my next question is, what is legacy to you? I don't even need to ask you that. Based on everything you say right there, that's legacy. But for the viewers who doesn't know, especially the name of the show is the Legacy Woman Show, just because there is a word woman in it, I want people to know legacy is not about woman. But what is legacy to you? What legacy are you doing? How are you living your legacy right now?
I know sometimes we think of legacy that, I'm going to do something so my future kids can benefit from it. But I'm more like, let me enjoy what I'm doing right now, impact the people. So even if a child comes in it, I'm not going to stop. Because legacy is more like I'm done and let me pass the baton to my future kids so they can have an inheritance. Yay, that's legacy in definition wise. Mm-hmm. But me, legacy is knowing every day I'm gonna get up in this season, be a student, be a mentor, working on my craft for Made for More, show up for Supreme, being a partner, sponsor whoever I need to sponsor, and yet that's legacy because Eloise's name is still remain.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. Yes. You see, I was making faces. I just wanted to throw my gun at you. I love that. It's because I feel like sometimes people think of legacies like you have to be a big entrepreneur doing this and that. And sometimes we're thinking about our children passing the baton to them. But how are you living your legacy now? How are you enjoying your day-to-day life now?
Exactly.
It's like
I don't have any kids right now. Yes, I don't have any birthing kids for me right now. But when it does come, this is mom. This is what mom had the chance to do. Because my physical inspiration was Miles Monroe and a lady named Elizabeth Elliot, that they have a library full of books. They get a chance to speak in front of a whole bunch of people. And I said, you know what? I inspire to be like them, where I'm going to write the multiple books. And I've started, and I want to be in front of a crowd. And for the sake of that, so that's my legacy. Yet the children may not come right now, but when the children do come in the picture, mom already had started all of this before us. You're just walking into it. And then when the Lord calls me home, take over mom's foundation. That's legacy for me.
I love that.
I cannot wait. I can't wait for me to have a kid and then say I'm going to leave my legacy.
Yeah.
No, it starts now. My photo shoot for my book, I'll never forget. The book wasn't even published yet. I ordered a copy, just like a rough draft of my drawing of the copy of this. And I brought it to the photo shoot. I was just so ecstatic, like a pure child. I'm like, I done wrote a book, Lord. Yay. And the purpose of it is just to impact people and tell them that God is a good God. And he's really to meet them halfway. He can heal you. He's worthy. And in his own sovereignty, he's just good. So I'd be like, I cannot say enough that I had nothing to do with this. Like, nothing. I have nothing to do with this. Nothing. It's pure favor, like unmerited, unearned, undeserved favor. When I look back, I'll be like, little old me, getting the chance to speak with people. So when you told me about the show thing, and I was like, I'm gonna be on a podcast show. And I told my dad. My dad was like, yeah, you're such a big woman. I said, but Dad, it's a podcast show.
I love how your dad said you're a big woman. You see?
So I was like, is this, like, pinch me, is this really happening?
This is just the beginning.
Yeah, and he's like, but it's okay. I know you never saw that, but yeah, I was like, oh, I'm just going to continue to be me then, because I'm going to be on a podcast show. And that in itself, I was like, this is really, really cool. God is really good. And so to everyone that's listening, it's just, in all, he's a good God. And truthfully, just if you allow yourself to let God plant those ideas, those vision, and you just write them small, because that's the verse in Habakkuk 2 verse 3. He says, write the vision plain.
Make it plain.
Make it plain. Make it plain. And he will bring it to pass. And yeah, I wrote this book. I drew the thing. The publishers did this. Here I am now, a year later, still talking about it.
Wow. Made for more. I love it. I'm so, like, I'm in awe. I don't know. In honor. It's like, I don't know. I don't think there's a word for it. It would come to me. It's like,
yes.
God is so good.
Yes.
It's like, I cannot stop thanking him and how merciful and how good he is. And
gratitude.
how he's going to use our story to impact others, to show that you are made for more. You can do this too, but you have to give him your yes. You have to give God your yes. He just needs your one yes.
That's it.
Wow. One of the stories that I love the most in the Bible is the story of the prodigal sons.
Nice.
That story, whenever I seen it, sometime in different views, you can see how the brother who stayed behind get jealous, the fact that when he come back, the dad throw him a party. But then you said, wait, but he chose to said, I know I was made for more. I'm going out there and find out. Even if I fail, but I want to try anyway. So I don't know, there is different revelation when you know the story of the prodigal son.
Nice.
How the father is rich and he have two sons. One decided, Dad, I've been living here forever. I want to experience more. I want to live. Give me my inheritance. Let me go try something out. And when he get out there, he experienced heartbreak, betrayal. He lost all his money where he's eating. He's working on a pig farm, which he have multiple made at home that can do this for him. And when all fell, he could have said, you know what, I'm too embarrassed to go back to my father.
But he didn't.
He didn't.
And the beautiful part about the prodigal son is the fact that the father was waiting.
Yes.
He was waiting. He was waiting, and when he returned, it's the open arms. As a human being, sometimes when these moments happen in our lives, we kind of like want to push people aside. And I will never forget when I sat down with the CEO of Supreme, Carl. What's up? We sat down and I told him, talk to me about the vision of Supreme. And he mentioned one thing. He said, I really want to go after the people that are overlooked. I want to go after the people that they don't think they can become an entrepreneur, when he showed me his story. And I said, you know what, Carl, you got the right woman here with you.
Hey, let's go real quick.
You got the right woman here with you, because it is so a dire need. It's such a joy for me to see others when they never thought or they didn't think they would be in a position that they are now. But it's because one person decided to go after that vision and give people opportunities.
Yes.
And that's why more than anything else, I want to do the same thing. I want to give people opportunity. You may not think that your business is worth it. So now when I'm networking, people tell me they have a business. I say, hey, listen, give me your card because I'm having a conference.
Let me tell you about it real quick.
Let me tell you about my conference and Made for More. Because although it's a business and sometimes it's not booming yet, it's not growing yet, but I said, I'm going to give you the platform.
Yeah.
I'm just a CEO sitting in the back, chilling, and yet I allow you to come in front of a stage and talk about your business. I'm not doing it for you. Yeah. This is your business. Eloise just says, this is an opportunity that you have. So now find a way to sell it to everybody in one day.
I love that. This is all beautiful. It is. There's so much question. There's so much. One thing that I can say through it all that you talk about is, in the midst of the struggle, God is here. your quiet time with God is so important. You need to have your one-on-one relationship with God in order for you to get to know the version of yourself that you crave. I feel like our spirit revealed to us.
Yes.
But
the
intimacy, we need that.
It's needed. I remember the word that God gave me when I was seeking to just be alone with Him. The word He gave me was koinonia. So for months, I pondered on the word koinonia, and it means fellowship, partnership, community. So koinonia, I had to partner up with God. After I wrote Unwired, He's like, okay, now you wrote this book, it was just me and you. Koinonia, you need to go out there. You need to be with people. I'm a relational God. You're not supposed to do life alone. You need people, you need relationship, you need friendship. And I took koinonia in a whole different way. Not that I say I desire to be around people all the time. Trust me, Eloise love Listen, when it's time for my nap, even in the office, I'd be like, listen, guys, it's that time. Turn off the light. I'm overstimulated. I need to take a quick power nap. But people are the reason to live. Yes. My mentor told me this long time ago. People give you a reason to live, especially if you're blessed with a job. I know some of us, we struggle at our job, but if you're at the job that you're loving, stay through. Yes. You know, and people they give you a reason to live. And in my field of work, seeing death every day, being alive is a privilege.
It is, and I feel like we take it for granted a lot.
We take it for granted a lot. So it's just, I started to do koinonia. Literally, I wanted to fellowship with people to build that community. And it just, so now, although I'm somewhat busy, but I'm grateful that God is teaching me to seek those resting moments, to continue to be in His presence. Because there was a period of time that's all I had. That's all I remained. And now I'm actually out there a lot. And it's like, wait. Yeah. This is too much. But it's more because I have things to work on. So I'm learning the balance right now.
Yeah, but I love that and God is teaching you that, because sometimes when we do have this intimate moment with God and God give us all that we're supposed to have, sometimes we get so busy we forget that intimate time. Personally, that happened to me in the past. I would wake up at 5 a.m. to spend time with God, and I get so busy that I'm tired. I go to bed later. Yeah. So of course I have to wake up later, and it's like, okay, when do I add God in? Or I do add Him in like 15 minutes, but it's not the same. Yeah. It's not enough, because I need 1 hour at least for me. Not just me.
That's good.
But it's not enough.
So this is where for me now in this season, I'm enjoying this season. Why? Because I'm flexible. I'm learning the life of an entrepreneur, what it's like, where you cannot procrastinate, but yet you need to do a lot of work. So thankfully enough, my regular job, they're manageable. I'm a student as well in this season. So with that time in itself, I make sure I am very timely managed. Like, I do not play about my time at all these days. And it's because I give myself a time. I wake up at this hour so I can spend it with God. Then I go to the gym, do my little thing here, go to my school, spend my time over there, mentor what I need to mentor, come back home, have dinner sometimes. And then it's bed. It's time to go to bed, because we have to do this again tomorrow. So it has built discipline. It definitely has built consistency for me to see the result. But boundaries as well. I cannot attend everything. I cannot go everywhere, specifically in this season if it's not networking related, if it's not school related issue, and if it's not my relationship, because I'm in a wholeheartedly pure relationship that has entered. Thank you. And it's where these are the things that needs to be nurtured. Yeah. And that's me right now. It's literally God, business, love. I don't know how to put it.
I do love that, because I feel like this is the life that we prayed for. And this season might be perfectly good like this, but next season might be
a different
one, because each season is different, and God calling us to be. And I feel like as an entrepreneur, sometimes when God calls us to rest, we feel like we have to be overly productive, and that can be a problem.
And that's when we're so exhausted. Learning how to rest without still feeling like overthinking, because our mind be like, did I do that one thing? Did I put this thing off? And our mind goes rampant. But I'm learning, embracing rest. Not just sleeping, rest. Where you just sit down, kick your feet up, eat some crackers and cheese. I don't know. Do something and just enjoy the little moments. of life, and we love ice cream, so we just tend to go for ice cream, and that in itself is fulfilling for me. So we're not constantly on the go, because us entrepreneurs, we love the go. And there's hustle culture. We love the going. We constantly have to work. And I told one person I know that's also an entrepreneur, I was like, you're going to wear yourself out. And he was like, but the money, the opportunities. And I'm like, but what about you? When you end up being on a hospital bed, not because I work in that field, who's going to handle this?
Yeah.
You don't even have anyone. Take breaks. Yeah. So when I see myself feeling burnt out, which I have been burnt out before, I'm like, no, it's time to slow down. And I know for you, I feel it. You can feel it. Yeah. Your body is literally telling you, we need a break. So it's best to start incorporating these things before it gets too late. So some days I'll be like, you know what, I'm blocking this off, non-negotiable. I don't care if you call my phone. Do not disturb. I'll get back to you tomorrow.
Yeah, I like that a lot, especially with the hustle culture. As Christian entrepreneur, I don't believe we're supposed to be doing hustle culture. We're supposed to be doing partnership with God. And if we're partnering with God, if we're rushing, how are we supposed to hear the voice of God when he's saying stop, or when he's saying go, when he's saying slow down?
And as a human being, you're not efficient.
Yeah.
You can't really, because I remember once I was so burnt out, and I would show up to work like as if I just took some drugs. Not really. It's because you're just tired. You're overly exhausted, and you're just trying to go get the check, making sure you feed. And it's not for everyone. If you have responsibilities, you have kids, you have a family, and you know what you have to do. I also say know what you have to do for you and your people. It's different for everybody. If you have a support system, that's even better. But if you don't, it's it's a little bit difficult. But at the end of the day, we need rest.
Yeah, we do.
And we only had that rest during the pandemic. It was the wrong type of rest.
Oh yeah.
So, but let's not allow ourselves to get to that point to be rested when the world gets shut down.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Don't wait for a pandemic in order for you to get rest. And that hustle culture is gonna kill us. And we don't want that. We really don't want that. And a lot of people usually say what's for you will be for you. But I believe that if you don't put in the work, if you don't actually...
Yeah, that too. Don't tell me you're going to sit down and wait for it to be for you. And you're just like, oh my goodness, hey, it's at my door. Mm-hmm. No, you literally have to go after it. And that's when you could say the hustle culture kind of comes in. Because you have to put yourself out there. You have to be visible. You have to connect with people. Because one of my mentors, he's like, Eloise, you never know who you're going to meet. And he's true.
Yeah,
I've always ended up meeting somebody that's going to help me along the way, or that's going to open up another door for me financially or somewhere. And it's because I have to put myself out there. So as much as I'm not on social media as much, I promise you I'm in the background doing the work and just putting all together. But I'm trying my best to be on social media more because it's also needed.
Yeah. Social media is a big thing. For me, I'm a personal branding photographer, and I help women with showing up online authentically themselves. I do believe that social media nowadays is become like your resume. It's literally like your resume. If somebody said, oh, you met someone at networking event, or do you have social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, so they can see, and you want your first impression on social media to be the right one. You want to show up your best self, that way a friend might share your social media with someone else.
I'll keep that in mind.
You want to share
to make sure my page is
your page is your resume.
Branding,
Yes. I'm having an event next month, May 18, where we'll be talking about social media, how to show up on social media as your best self, keeping the brand together so the people that meant to meet you. And I'm excited to do this part of my Legacy Woman group.
That's awesome.
It just showing up online is more than people used to think it was.
Right.
Because nowadays, literally, social media. Hey, do you know a photographer? Social media. I'm going to a restaurant. Social media. Because you want to see the menu prior. You want to see all that. So how you show up matter online and in person.
Let me not tell myself I'm old age then. Yeah, I need to show up.
No, you need to show up. And it's going to happen. Even if you can't, you have the videos. Hire a social media manager. Hire someone to keep your brain cohesive for you. There is other way you can batch content create. In a month, I have enough content on my phone right now for an entire year.
That's awesome.
But it takes me a while to understand and learn about social media in the past 5 years, being a social media manager.
Yeah, I have a coach that's done specifically to teach me all of this.
So as
I am emerging, because Make for More, it will be taking place shortly. It's in the process. Who knows how long it'll take? Sooner or later, Made for More will be a bigger thing, to have multiple services, or you get to see me speaking. Have more books, which I have more coming up. Not just Unwired. More books definitely is coming out of me, and I just finished the second one. So
congratulations! I can't wait to see it, and then you'll be the first one to be here, and she'll give us an exclusive.
Right? Yes, definitely gonna be a copy for that one, and then multiple of the things that I do in under one page, so you get to see me all the time, and just literally get to meet new people too. So Eloise is gonna be a brand. So.
No, you are a brand, and God is taking you far, and I cannot wait to be part of that story. Cause,
I've come a long way for sure. Within the span of a year,
there is nothing God cannot do.
There
is nothing that my God cannot do.
When I tell you,
He shot me every day.
I'm blown away. Every day.
Yeah. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Legacy Woman. Thank you so much for tuning in into today's episode of the Legacy Woman Show. I pray this conversation with Eloise inspire you, encourage you, and remind you that you are truly made for more. If you want to stay connected with Eloise, be sure to check her new book out and her amazing community, Made for More. I'll leave all her links in the show notes. If today's episode bless you, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. Your support helps this message reach more women around the world. Until next time, continue to walk boldly in the legacy God has called you to build. I'm Esther, and I see you in the next episode. Bye, Legacy Woman.